How's it going, everybody? This is Seer here, and today we're talking about Overpowered and how to succeed with Overpowered. We recently had a blog talking about how Overpowered's going to be expanding, going to the early and mid-game players. So I want to make sure that you all are set up to succeed with Overpowered, and you're not really blindsided by the benefits and what's going to happen when Overpowered gets unlocked for you. So currently, Overpowered has a rank 1 benefit for you, to where if you have the benefit of Overpowered over your opponent, you're going to be getting a 50% damage increase and a 50% focus increase as well. This is actually very major, and you're going to notice the difference pretty quickly once you start using Overpowered against your opponents. Now, they are expanding this out to where this is going to be starting at level 50 for you, and then each of these tiers is kind of like a check mark. So are you level 50? Yes, you are. Do you have gear tier 10 on your characters? You might at this time. If you do, then you're going to have Overpowered 2, where if you're going against somebody that's level 50, but they do not have that gear tier 10, you're going to have Overpowered benefits against them. So you kind of see how important Overpowered is going to be for you. Now, eventually it's going to get all the way down to where if you are level 105 gear tier 20, Overpowered 11 is going to be your max rank. Now, what happens if you have the same Overpowered as your opponent? There's going to be no benefits on either side. If your opponent has the gear tier 20, you don't have gear tier 20, they're going to have Overpowered on you. So try to focus on certain characters is going to be key to Overpowered. So I did come up with something for you guys. How to succeed. Speed is going to be king for you. Because of the turn orders for Marvel Strike Force, the speed is going to be the most important stat for you. Making it to where you can go first with the Overpowered characters, hitting into your opponents, is going to cause some major disruption on the other side of the field. Characters that's going to be key on this is going to be characters like Kahori, who has that double turn. Blade is a very fast character to where he's able to do turn meter rewinds. He hits very hard as well. Storm comes in with speed up to where she's going to be going very quickly. She has a big AoE hit, so that's going to be a lot of Overpowered into your opponents. Havoc and Cosmic Crucible, he's going to be the first character to go for you, so he's going to be a very important feature for you on this. Spider-Man Noir is very interesting, where the more buffs that your opponent has, the faster he gets with his turn meters. He can take care of a lot of interesting characters if you actually get Overpowered on him, to where you can end up basically stopping certain counters that usually worked into the Spider Society team. Next up is look for your high damage dealers. This is going to be characters like Odin, who has that battlefield effect that he's able to do a lot of sweeps. Omega Red Phoenix Force is a very high damage character if you are able to get a lot of stars on him. He scales incredibly well, especially with Overpowered in this game. Punisher is an older character that just got reworked, but he does a lot of damage. He does outer turn pings as well with the Vigilante team. He's a very good character that's able to use Overpowered pretty efficiently. Lilandra is a very important character on the Starjammers team, and the fact that we need her to get Professor Xavier unlocked is going to be very important for you as well. If you make it to her ultimate, it's basically a triple tap into the opponent's team, and it's pretty devastating if you got that Overpowered working for her. Lady Deathstrike is another older character that had reworked. She's a very fast character, has turn meter rewinds, and hits very hard, so she's a good candidate for Overpowered as well. Now, the last line on here where it says, tanks, healers only to survive. What this is basically talking about is, because your damage dealers are the main ones that you want Overpowered for, if you get all of those main characters caught up for you, then you can start plugging away at certain tanks, healers, your controllers, basically characters that don't need the damage increase for that 50% or focus for 50%, but this is going to help them survive. If you get a character like, say, Ms. Marvel Classic, who's at a tier 9 for the Overpowered feature, and somebody's tier 10 hit and enter, they're going to get an extra 50% damage, taking those tanks out so much easier. So the last line of defense for you are going to be healers and tanks, in my opinion. So look for those speed and high damage dealer characters first. So what we have over here in game is, I kind of want to show you how the check marks actually work for you. Titania right here, you can see the numbers on screen where she has a 7 on here. This means that she's a tier 7. Loki Tina is a 7, and then you can start to see these 11s and 10s on here. If you end up actually selecting the character and you go and click on the number, you can kind of see what ranks you actually have. So Titania is currently a rank 7. For me to get her up to that rank 8 for the next overpowered rank is going to end up me basically taking her to gear tier 19, and then purple 3, and then level 105, gear tier 20, and then purple 5. So you can kind of see what check marks you actually need on here. Now, if we end up going down to somebody that doesn't have any overpowered currently, you can kind of see right here, it starts currently at rank or level 90, then it goes up to gear tier 17. This is going to end up being adjusted to where you can kind of see that it's going to start at that level 50, gear tier 10, green 5. So these are all check marks that you can kind of see. So if you end up having somebody that's, say, level 105, purple 3, you drop them down to a blue ISO 5, that's going to knock them down to overpowered 6. So you do want to be mindful of any time you make ISO changes or anything of that sort that could kind of disrupt your overpowered. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what characters and teams are actually going to be very useful for this overpowered. Now, the number one team, in my opinion, in the game is still the Annihilators. They're kind of that benchmark team. They're still very good in Arena. They're good in Alliance War. They're good in Cosmic Crucible. Pretty much every single game mode. And the main characters that you're going to want to use on this overpowered is going to be Gore and Thanos Endgame. Thanos Endgame has that passive to where if he ends up getting pushed, that's going to end up making it to where there's the Rain on Fire, where he does a big AoE damage to your enemy side, takes all the buffs away as well. It's very devastating, so he benefits from overpowered very well. Gore is a very fast character. He opens up with the ultimate, and that ultimate with overpowered is going to hit very hard. The only reason I have Gladiator on here is because he is that tank healer portion that I mentioned before, and he's going to be very good in the Xavier unlock. So he is somebody I'm taking into the Cosmic Villain section that's going to benefit from overpowered for me. Next up, we have a bunch of the raid teams, because raid is very important in this game. So Night Stalkers is going to be the next team on the list. And you can see right here, I already have Blade and Oath at that tier 11 for overpowered. Agatha's rank 10. I wouldn't hate taking Agatha up. She will probably go up in the future for me, but Blade and Oath are definite good candidates for this overpowered. They go very quickly on the Night Stalkers team, basically 1 and 2 on the team. High damage, high burst to where it's an AoE attack or attack with adjacent with turn meter rewinds. They're a very good character to get overpowered on. The number 3 team for me is going to be the Vigilante team. This is the newest raid team, and by them adding in war callouts, this team's been very surprising in Alliance War, to where they're kind of that heat-seeking missile, to where you can kind of plug them into certain teams, and they're very good at taking out those teams. Punisher being that high damage character, he does the outer turn damage as well, just like Hitmonkey. These are great candidates for overpowered. And then we have Silver Sable, who does a buff reduction on the other side, puts trauma out there, does a massive AoE damage. So these are the 3 key characters for overpowered with the Vigilante team, and probably the 3 most important characters on there. Daredevil Modern's a very good tank on the team, to where he's able to keep the sustain going on you. So I would put him as, say, maybe number 4, one to kind of have most of your damage dealers done for overpowered. Next up is going to be the Orcus team. This is going to be the tech team for the Chaotic Storm raids. And the 3 characters for this, I do like Lady Deathstrike, I like Nimrod, and I like Omega Sentinel. They're the 3 damage dealers. And Omega Sentinel is a very good character for overpowered, as she does outer turn damage. So those pings can really hit very hard into your opponent. Lady Deathstrike has that turn meter rewind, very high damage on there. And the Nimrod, the more tech summons on his side of the field, the faster he goes, which we talked about how important speed is to the overpowered game. He also has a very big AoE hit. He has ability blocks on him. Very good character for overpowered. And you can see I already took Lady Deathstrike and Nimrod up to that gear tier 20. Now we're going into the Spotlight team, which is going to be the Uncanny Avengers. This is going to be Hercules, Storm, and Jean Grey. Now, Storm, as I mentioned before, kind of comes in with that speed up on spawn, big AoE hit, gets trauma out there, slows out there, stun on the primary target. Very good candidate for that. Then her turn 2 ability is basically just a delete the other side of the field because of the charges. Jean Grey's going to open up with this special. That's going to be a big AoE hit as well. and nice Terminator reduction there. Then we have Hercules, where in war and on the raids, he's able to take the buffs off, so keeping him alive, and his ultimate does a very good amount of damage with that big AoE, so he's a good candidate for that. I don't plan to really take him to that gear tier 11 or gear tier 20, but keeping him up on the overpowered is going to be pretty beneficial to you, because you're going to get dual use out of him in raids and Alliance War, where Storm and Jean, you're going to be able to get use out of them in raids and Cosmic Crucible. Now we're moving into the Alpha Flight team. The only reason I have them on here, and you can see how Sasquatch is a rank 10 overpowered, Guardian and Northstar are rank 9. This is because I don't have these two characters up to level 105. I took Sasquatch to 105 mainly just to keep him alive, so you can kind of take them up to how big you need them to be. Northstar getting that overpowered in Alliance War and Guardian as well is going to be pretty beneficial, because they will have to be mindful if they are using the proper team and proper overpowered to kind of at least get the even up or overpowered into this team to really take it out. Sasquatch is that pre-taunt. Northstar does the ultimate for the big opening, which does flips. Guardian, he's able to get the stuns out there, a lot of good control as well. So Guardian also gets the offense up. So if you can think of overpowered getting that 50% and then offense up on top of that, that's going to be a lot of damage for this team. So Alpha Flight's a pretty good candidate, and I have them as the pretty much the last raid team that you can kind of see on here. The rest of the raid teams are going to be at the bottom of the list, which we're going to talk about those later. Next up, as far as important teams and characters goes on the teams, is going to be the Astral team. So Shadow King is an amazing character to where he does out of turn damage with pings. He does that big ultimate for taking the buffs off, big damage as well, and that can kind of delete a lot of teams with the overpowered feature on him. MSF X-Men, now she's more the controller on the team, so we'll talk about her last, but Ancient One, good damage dealer. That special does a big AoE hit, gets counterattacks on the team. The ultimate makes it to where she can get a stun out there, nice rebound chain as well, so she's a very good damage dealer on this team. Now, as far as MSF X-Men goes, she's going to be that kind of tank with healer portion controller that I kind of talked about. However, she's used in so many different game modes right now because of her passive, and I did take her into the Xavier Saga that you can see on here for the Global Hero. She's a great candidate for that, so that's the main reason I took her up. If I had a choice based off of Overpowered, I think that Ancient One would be the bigger winner, but due to her being a Mystic and Emma being a Mutant, you kind of have to take that into account when you're kind of going to the rank 11 on these overpowered characters. Now, Doctor Strange is a great character for the Astral team, and he's that healer that you want to keep alive to bring a lot of your characters back on the Astral team, and especially does a lot of damage as well. So I do have him later on in the list, more in the plug and play or additional portion of this. Now we're going to go into the absolute A-Force. Kahori is a one-woman wrecking machine. She's a amazing character in this game to where she gets that 200% turn meter on spawn, outer turn damage right off the bat with the pings, and then if she ends up getting the ultimate, it's another free turn out of there. She can do very well with Overpowered, and I do plan to take her up to that gear tier 20 just because she is that good. Medusa isn't that fast of a character, but she hits very hard, so that's going to go more into the high damage portion on here. I think Medusa would be a great candidate to really get up to the higher ranks of the Overpowered section. And then Ms. Marvel Classic, she's just that tank, and the higher ranks you have on her means that she's going to survive so much longer because people aren't getting that extra 50% damage into this. Now we're going to go into the Liberty team, and you can see I have 4 characters on here. The main reason being is because of the Xavier Saga. The Global Hero section basically has war buffs active on there, even though it doesn't really call it out, which means Liberty takes full benefits of this. So taking all 4 of these characters up to that gear tier 20, if you're pushing to those rank 11 overpowered, is going to be very beneficial for you. Peggy Carter is going to have the pings. Falcon Joaquin is a very fast character that speeds up the team. Patriot's the damage dealer as well. And the Captain Sam, as a raider, He does a lot of damage, and again, he's going to be able to really survive a whole lot longer once those taunts come up for the Liberty team. So doing all 4 of these characters, you're not really going to hate them. They're also all different origins, so they are a fantastic candidate to really push up to those overpowered ranks, and they're pretty much the best war team right now in the game, so they have a lot of added benefit there. Now we're going to go into more Cosmic Crucible, which is the Phoenix Force team. Now the Phoenix Force team is a 2-person team currently in the game, where Phoenix, it basically has her own self, and then we got in Omega Red Phoenix Force, and hopefully every year we're going to keep getting more and more of these Phoenix Force characters like we did for the Undying team, to really keep this team kind of afloat for Cosmic Crucible. Omega Red Phoenix Force is a very high damage character, so the more stars you get on him whenever his events start coming around, the more you're going to be able to benefit with the Overpowered for him. Phoenix, she does a lot of good damage, very good control, and she can help keep the Omega Red Phoenix Force alive and kind of speed them up as well, which is a very good benefit. Now I do plan to take Omega Red Phoenix Force up. I'll probably end up taking Phoenix up as well, just because I do love Cosmic Crucible. Now we're going into the Mercs for Money team, and you can see here I only put 2 characters down for this. It's Old Man Logan basically doing all of the heavy lifting. However, Dakin benefits very well from the Overpowered because of how he can gain that speed anytime your opponent goes to stealth. So really getting the Overpowered into your opponent with Dakin. His ultimate also does massive damage. So these 2 are the 2 main characters for the Mercs for Money. Now, I used to have Pandapool on here, or Deadpool even at a time, but in reality, it really comes down to Old Man Logan, and if you want to do Dakin, you're not going to regret it. Now we have the Immortal X-Men. We already discussed Storm and Jean Grey, how those are the 2 main characters that really pull the Immortal X-Men away as far as the high damage, really benefiting from the Overpowered. Other characters like Beast is more to keep the team alive, making sure that he doesn't end up getting killed off due to Overpowered. Polaris, she brings everybody together, but you don't really need Overpowered on her or Cable. So just focusing on Storm and Jean, you're going to be fine with this. Now we have the Starjammers team on the list. The 3 main characters that you really want to push on Overpowered is going to be Howard the Duck, Havoc, and Lilandra. Havoc's going to be going first, and on offense, you're going to have a choice to either do a stun or basically strip all the positive effects and charges off with the ultimate. So you have 2 different ways to open with Havoc, who's going to be going first. After that, we're going to have Howard the Duck. You can open up with a special, get nice big ability blocks on 3 characters and trauma, which really shuts them down. And then you're basically biding time until Lilandra makes her turn, which is turn 4 on the team. Use the ultimate, and that should delete or remove a lot of the buffs from your opponent, especially with Overpowered on there, because she is required for that Xavier unlock. Now we have the Illuminati team. This is one of the older teams. Anything that's older than Ares, you do want to be a little bit more cautious about with your Overpowered on how you're spending your resources, your gear, your ISOs, everything like that, because anything Ares and newer, which is going to account for the Annihilators, the Orcus team, all of the other teams we talked about on the list, they greatly benefit from Overpowered because of that 50% damage. Now, as far as the Illuminati goes, Captain Britain is still a very good character in the game. He's a very good plug and play as well in Cosmic Crucible. Black Panther Shuri, she does a lot of control. She goes very quickly, so getting her up there in Overpowered ranks is going to be very beneficial to you. And then Hank Pym, his tank drop can absolutely destroy anybody if he has Overpowered punching into characters older than him. So that's why he's actually still on this list for that. Even though he's a healer, he does some really good damage for the Illuminati team. For the Cabal team, they're kind of the same as the Illuminati. They're a little bit older than the Illuminati team. It's a 3-person team, but they're all different traits. So we have a tech, a mutant, and a bio character, but I still use them in Cosmic Crucible, whether that's on offense or you can kind of break them up to where you can use the passive abilities from Leader and Iron Patriot. They can still work very well. I think they might be a little bit on the downswing, but I don't regret any resources. I'm still going to be using them for a little bit longer, at least until we start getting more Crucible teams. Patriot over here, he has a big AoE hit with this special. You usually want to open up that special because it does do that buff flip for you. Namor has that turn meter rewind for the ultimate, big AoE hit. And then Leader, basically keeping the charges, getting the extra damage. He's the sustain on the team as well. Then you just plug in 2 other villains and you're pretty much good to go for this team. Now we have the Undying team. This one here, we have 4 members of the Undying currently, which is going to be Zombie Iron Man, Zombie Juggernaut, Zombie Scarlet Witch, and Hela. The main ones that you really want to push for on this team is going to be Zombie Juggernaut. He's one of the big damage dealers on the team, while also being that pre-taunt. Zombie Scarlet Witch, you don't need high stars on her, but getting more stars really works well for Zombie Scarlet Witch. Hela, she's interesting as her ultimate does spread all the negative effects on the team. Then it's really Zombie Iron Man's passive that makes your opponent kill themselves. However, keeping Hela alive is going to be very important. So as far as priority goes, I would say Zombie Iron Man, Zombie Scarlet Witch, and then Hela, if I had to do it in that order, because Hela does usually get a lot of death fruits that keeps her alive, where Zombie Juggernaut's the main damage dealer with his special, its ultimate. Very good striker character as well. Now we have the Mighty Avengers team on here. We already discussed what Hercules brings to the team. Now Falcon right here, he gets a lot of turn meter for your team. You're going to open up with that special, and then when you make it to his ultimate, usually that's going to end up deleting the other team, and you either win the victory or you kind of fall a little bit short from it as far as the Mighty Avengers goes. But Falcon is very good as far as the Overpowered goes. Getting that extra 50% damage on that ultimate, it's gonna wreck a lot of teams up with that. Then regular Scarlet Witch Wanda over here, she's a good character to where she's able to do a lot of retaliates. Her ultimate does a lot of damage as well and gets defense down on the opponent. So you kind of set up to where if your opponent doesn't have any immunities on them because you strip them all off, use Wanda's ultimate, get defense down, and then you're going to use Falcon's ultimate and you're getting all that damage into defense down characters. That's usually how the team kind of plays out in Alliance War. Now, I do want to talk about the mythic characters in Marvel Strike Force, to where Odin over here is pretty much king of the game right now until you get kind of Professor Xavier. His battlefield effect works wonders with Overpowered. Just doing those swipes every turn just deletes teams off the board. It's pretty crazy. Mephisto's still a great character. He's the Dark Dimension 7 character. He's been used more on offense than anything lately. You will see him on defense in certain comps though, so he's very fun to play with though. His ultimate with Overpowered, again, just deletes a lot of teams off the board, especially with his empowerment on spawn. Apocalypse, he's an older character, but he still benefits from Overpowered, to where if you end up using that ultimate, it does the big AoE damage, and that could end up killing a few characters. Then uses Striker Empowered Shot to one-shot an opponent. That's going to work very well for you. Over here, we have Super Skrull and Ultimates. Super Skrull's an older character. He still works very well, to where if you get that 2 heroes, 2 villains, he can still pop off pretty well. He does benefit from Overpowered pretty well, especially if you get his ultimate pulled off. That's going to be a lot of damage that he's going to be doing to your opponent. Ultimates over here, he's that tank breaker character. If there's ever a taunt on the other side of the field, he gets all the extra turn meter. Use the ultimate, it just deletes them. Then he gives turn meter to your team. He works very well with the Annihilators or as a plug and play character. Now we have a bunch of the kind of not really miscellaneous characters, but characters that can still benefit from Overpowered. So Doctor Strange, we kind of talked about with that Astral team, keeping him alive so that we can bring everybody back to life. And his special still does a lot of good damage to the entire other side of the field. Black Knight, he will get extra health off of it, and that's going to make it to where you can kind of survive longer. That way people using Overpowered into him doesn't get him killed off as quickly, and you can get those retaliates pulled off a whole lot easier into your opponent. Spider-Man Noir, this guy is a game wrecker now with Overpowered, to where if he can get about 3 turns in a row, he will delete characters off the other side before they even get a turn. It's pretty crazy, especially for an older character. Just the mechanics to where he gets those turn meter anytime your opponent gets positive effects. It's something not to really shy away from, but kind of be aware of. Ares is a plug and play war character, very good on multiple different team comps, and he could benefit from Overpowered. He's just a lot slower. However, that just means that he gets to survive longer because people aren't doing those extra hits into Ares. So if I were to take Ares up, it's going to be, again, after I get most of my main damage dealers taken care of, then I might go back to Ares to do him. But keeping him up on your overpowered ranks is going to really help you out in Alliance War. Hang is a very old character in this game. He doesn't really benefit from Overpowered. However, he usually plugs in here with that Cabal team. So that's why I still threw him on here. If you already have him built, great. If you don't, I would just get him up to a reasonable level. I don't think you really need him that high anymore. Now we're going to go into the last two raid teams. So we have the Extreme X-Men. We don't know if we're going to be getting another mutant raid team. I don't think we will, because the Extreme X-Men with Old Man Logan solves the current raid answer. So I don't think we're going to be getting one for a while. So because of that, Gambit and Nightcrawler are the main characters you want to push as far as your overpowered ranks goes. This is going to get it to where you have the outer turn damage with Gambit. Nightcrawler is a good plug and play character with X-Men characters. He gives that extra built speed bars, speed up, big AoE damage that cleanses or removes positive effects from your opponent. Both very good characters for overpowered. Again, for GNC, he's overpowered rank 9. He's just level 100. He's not level 105 like the other ones are. So it's more of a matter if you want to take him up higher, just that way he stays alive. Just kind of get him up there for raids and you should be fine. Now we have the Hive Mind team. This one here, we have Void Knight, Carnage, and Red Goblin. This is currently the Bio Raid team. I would say kind of stop where you're at with this team because we do have the Thunderbolts coming. Victoria Hand just came out, and we already have Taskmaster Ghost. So we just need 2 more characters, so we have the full Thunderbolts team. Wherever you have your Hive Mind, you should be good to stay there. I just want to put them on here because of that. As far as what they can do outside, they do pair very well with Null, and maybe throw Mephisto in there, and that could be one of your answers into like a Odin Absolute A-Force comp in Alliance War. I do use that every now and then just because I have such massive investments in my Hive Mind already. Now we have the Superior 6. They fell quite a bit on the list right now. The main reason is because of Overpowered. They don't beat the Spider Society team anymore in Alliance War. They're more of a luxury team now, and I don't really use them all the time in Crucible. I do use them against the Liberty team. Otherwise, they just kind of sit there. It's very unfortunate because I love this team. I hyped them up for so long, but they kind of ran the course a little bit. If you wanted to keep working on them, these are the 3 that really benefit from Overpowered. Spider Slayer gets the offense up, has a big AoE hit. The ultimate's kind of a delete button depending on how many buffs are on Spider Slayer and what's on the other side of the field. Craven gets the safeguard, gets ability block on multiple targets if there's a controller on the other side. A do not revive button on the ultimate if he kills them. And then Green Goblin Classic with the pings, the ultimate for that turn meter rewind. Great kits, great characters, just a little bit older. That's the unfortunate thing. And then last on here, we have the Spider Society team. We have the Vigilante team right now. However, because of the Spider Society team, usually if people have them pretty built up already, so they're able to take advantage of these like rank 10 overpowereds right now. And Spider-Man Pavitra is a monster with Overpowered for how much damage he can pump out for that. Penny does a big hit with that ultimate, gets the stuns out there. Very good characters as well as far as what Penny and Pav can bring to the team. And then we have Spider-Man Noir, who does all that turn meter that I mentioned before. And Peter B. Parker is that healer on the team. But Peter B. Parker does do the assist as well. So that's why I put all 3 of them on here. But that's going to be my how to approach Overpowered. Look for those fast characters, high damage characters. Go for those characters first to try to push your roster in that direction. And then with your additional resources, lean more into those tanks, those healers, those controllers, and that should help you guys manage the overpowered situation. Now, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I know there's a lot to cover on here, but I wanted to try to get you all to succeed and kind of be prepared for what's to come, because with the change in Overpowered, how it's going to be starting at the level 50 mark. If you're new to the game, you're going to hit level 50 in about 2 to 3 days if you really push hard. And then when you hit level 75, you're going to start to see a drastic change in how your game's going to kind of evolve. So hopefully Overpowered doesn't catch you off guard, and I got you ready for this. If you guys did enjoy this video, please remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have one for the rest of the day.